We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and your friends. If you want to support this rebel outpost for college football sickos, hit the $sign where you make a comment, and I will get to your super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the studio that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid, PATC family. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments in the chat room, with your phone calls later in the show. Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. North Carolina head football coach Mack Brown will not return next season, the school announced. Mack Brown will coach on Saturday in the season finale against North Carolina State, but a decision has not been reached on whether Brown will coach in the bowl game. And I see that Mack Brown has put out a statement a little while before we came on live. Well, I am taking back PATC's L. Mac Brown, North Carolina, about 4 weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago. This was our prediction. A lot of speculation. A lot of speculation mixed in with what the North Carolina Money Perch told us. This was our prediction on what job would be open first throughout all of the Power Four conferences. A few days ago, I came up here and I said, oh boy, I think we took a couple L's during the live show. This was one of them. I said, no. Mac Brown says he's returning. So we here at PATC have to take the L. I'm taking it back. I'm taking that back. North Carolina is the first open job in the Power Four conferences. Now, and I happen to think this is the correct move. Me and Preston from Greensboro, I asked him, and I think he basically said yes. North Carolina needs to turn the page. They just do. In this new world of college football, Mac Brown has done a decent job at North Carolina. Now the question is, North Carolina Hot Board 1.0. Now, here at PATC, we had a tremendous coaching carousel season last year. We nailed the Kalen DeBoer. We nailed Washington's coach. We nailed a lot of them last year. This year, the coaching carousel is going to be a very short ride. There's not going to be many openings, as we reported over a month ago. The Hot Board 1.0, there hasn't been much time since the breaking news that Mac Brown is leaving. I have been texting the North Carolina Money Perch, who I do not have a direct communication with, but I was able to receive information right before we came on live, and it's the exact information that is being floated out there all over the place. So, PATC Hot Board 1.0 is going to look pretty much the same as everybody else. Now, we here at PATC, when we do the hot boards, we don't go past 3 names. We don't list 10 names, 12 names, 8 names. When you list that many names, it's no longer a list. That's not how. Now, the athletic directors, they have long lists. Their list goes past 3 names. They always keep a current list on hand, just in case. But we at Peek Around the Corner, we know there's always 1, 2, 3, the top targets. That's what we are focusing on. We're trying to get to the nitty-gritty on who are the top targets for the athletic director, for that athletic department, targets that would have mutual interest in the job. In other words, the names we list are names that we believe North Carolina would have interest, and that particular candidate would have interest back to take a phone call, for their agent to take a phone call and proceed forward to see if it is a good match for both parties. Our list never goes beyond 3 names. Usually it's only 2 names, and then we keep the third one open, just in case we get a little bit more smoke on another name, and that's exactly what we are doing Tuesday, November 26th. Hot Board 1.0 Tar Heel 1.0, the first name on the Hot Board list for North Carolina's new head coach. He coached at Troy, unbelievable job. He's coached at Tulane, doing a tremendous job. John Summerall. He is going to be everybody's, well, pretty much everybody's number one guy on the Hot Board list. There is one concerning part about John Summerall's candidacy to become the new head football coach of North Carolina. Excuse my voice. If you didn't know this, I put out an episode, not a membership episode. It's a for everybody episode, episode 412 of College Football's Peek Around the Corner. We did a Dancing in the Dark Bruce Springsteen rendition of ESPN SEC playoff, college football playoff situation. If you haven't seen that episode, if you haven't seen our latest PATC rendition, where I sing a song, Dancing in the Dark, go check it out, episode 412. It's open for everybody. But the problem is, I had to sing that song about 25 times just to come out with the horrible rendition that we did release. You guys only listened to the best version that I could do. You didn't hear the bad 24 versions I did before that bad version that I did. So the voice is a little gone because I was trying to sing like Bruce Springsteen, how he sounded back in 1984 when the song was released. So my voice Preston from Greensboro. Wait, that was the good one. I tell you, you guys kill me. Every single day, you guys kill me. So my voice is a little gone. Anyways, John Summerall is number one on the Hot Board. We're going to get to his, I'm not going to call it a red flag, but it's something I've been told that might make it difficult for the John Summerall in North Carolina partnership to occur. Number two, we're going to circle back to the John Summerall candidacy. Number two, Glenn Schumann, defensive coordinator of the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia. He is definitely number two on the Hot Board list, as we've been told here at Peek Around the Corner. Circling back to John Summerall. If this match occurs, John Summerall is going to have to agree to a hefty buyout. So whatever program takes him next, Kentucky, they're going to have to give North Carolina a bundle of cash. We live in interesting times here. Again, this just happened, right? But because a few weeks ago, because of the North Carolina money perch, and a whole lot of speculation, because of course we don't know what other athletic programs are going to do, right? We just went out with the prediction to say this was going to be the first power conference job opening up. And then we had to take the L a few days ago. We've taken the L back. Because it actually happened. So we've been discussing this, what was going to happen when this happened. John Summerall's target number one, but man, there is has been a what has been told to us, a Kentucky problem. That John Summerall is going to be Kentucky's new head coach when Stoop either steps down or they make it a change. So John Summerall might stick around at Tulane. He's got a really good thing coming. In fact, Tulane is going to be a very, very good football program next year. Unless they lose guys in the portal and get poached, whatever. But they have a young team. They're going to be really good next year. He might want to wait around. So North Carolina, can they come with the bags of cash? We'll get to that in a second. And can they get Summerall to agree with the big buyout? So that is some of the issues with John Summerall. But he is the guy that North Carolina would want. Everybody, a lot of people would want John Summerall. In the industry, he's considered a serious dude who connects with student athletes. He's got a little bit of Signetti in him. He said right away, we're taking Tulane to the college football playoffs. He's done an unbelievable job. The team did not collapse on him early in the season. Great game against the Kansas State Wildcats. You guys know all of this. I'm not telling anything new. But there is some concern. Now, this same North Carolina money perch who told us about the arena, hockey arena, we reported to you all before that became public. And about a month ago, we talked about this Mac Brown, and a whole lot of speculation was mixed into it, but we said this would be the first opening college football. North Carolina has a money issue. They have a revenue issue. Bubba Cunningham just laid out a plan about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. You know, we need to do this, we need to do that, blah, 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 blah. Please donate to the collective. We're going to do cost cutting, yada, yada, yada. And then then they made a decision to let Mac Brown go. So they're going to have to belly up to the bar. Mac Brown only has I don't know what it is, $3.8, $4.8, $2.8 million left. They're going to have to give Mac Brown about $4 million or a little less. Maybe a little bit on the current coaching staff. So that's not a real big issue. But remember, we reported that North Carolina, that Bubba Cunningham, a lot of eyes are going to be on Bubba Cunningham for the first 6 months of 2025. It's going to be a crazy 2025. I hope you stick with us here at Peek Around the Corner. We gave you the peek. We've been giving you, we believe, accurate peeks about North Carolina for a long time. We know that Bubba Cunningham, we gave you the peek that Bubba Cunningham is pro-private equity. We don't know how that's coming into North Carolina. We don't know if that's coming into the current ACC configuration. Probably not. Could it be coming in as just the college, the university itself? That is a high-risk adventure. I don't know. Could it be coming in as a potential part of a dissolution of the conference and then bringing back 10 schools and creating a new conference? We've talked about that. The dissolution theory is not completely dead. Nothing imminent. Definitely not the chalk. Definitely a long shot. But Bubba Cunningham is pro-private equity. Bubba Cunningham is going to be pretty aggressive. And I think this is his first foray into being aggressive in this new world of college football. We don't know here at Peek Around the Corner what exactly Bubba Cunningham is going to do. We have people in place. We have the money perch who just was accurate with Mac Brown and in the hockey arena, and then he just told us about this dissolution thing not being completely dead, and so all eyes are gonna be on Bubba Cunningham. At least our eyes here at Peek Around the Corner. John Summerall, number 1, Glenn Schumann, number 2, and for now we're gonna keep that third spot open for Hot Board 2.0. There is some concern about the John Summerall candidacy because of Kentucky. We're going to leave that the way it is right now. So that is the North Carolina. I want to hear what you guys have to say in the chat room, what you guys have to say with your phone calls in relation to the North Carolina Hot Board for the new head coach. Let me know what you're thinking. Gorb, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Gorb. I do appreciate you coming on in. I want to do a roll call, and then we got Brett Yormark. We're going to go back to North Carolina. We've got a whole lot to talk about. We are doing a morning show, or a little bit past noon show for you people out on the East Coast, because we're coming back on live tonight once again. Live reaction to the new release of the college football playoff rankings. Oh boy. Oh boy. It's going to be dramatic. There's going to be elbows thrown. There's going to be punches thrown and landed in the chat room, so come join us tonight. I don't know exactly what time that is. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock Eastern, probably something like that. Keep your head on a swivel. PATC is coming back on live tonight. It's going to be lots of fun. Come join us. James Foster, go Sun Devils. James Foster and the Sun Devils are probably pretty happy with what Brett Yormark said. Brett Yormark bites back. Brett Yormark, the Big 12 commissioner, says something out loud. He's pushing back on the narrative that is building up. Arizona State versus Boise State. Patrick Baird is in the house. Ryan Brooks, Caleb Ramirez, Chief Fan, AMAC, Randy Taylor, Don in Kansas, Big Ears Bo. Preston from Greensboro, John Summerall. Come on down. He's the number 1 guy on the board. But it is not a fate of complete. Absolutely not. Heelan, Florida, Summerall, Schumann, Minter. We do not have the name Minter. Dave B. Happy Thanksgiving, Greg. You are a key part of our lives all year. Thank you, Dave B. Thank you so much for those kind words. Here's the evil badger, Jeff Olson. I'm not wishing this guy happy Thanksgiving. No way, Jose. Jeff Olson, close personal friend of mine, but a happy Thanksgiving he's not going to have because the axe is coming home. It's leaving Madison and it's coming into Minneapolis. Jeff Olson. Oh, and yes, that reminds me. We are going to talk a little bit about what is going on once again in the UK. In the UK, over 3 sensitive military installations with those drones. We're going to talk about that for a little bit. Tumasta is in the house. Bearcat Steve is here. Hopefully about a 2-hour show. I have a 2:15 tea time. I think we can do that, Steve. I think we can do that. CFP Plus. Rock and Rant moving trucks in New Orleans with a Chapel Hill map. Possibly. Could be. It's the number 1 on the board. Can you take an L on taking the L? I've done it before. I'll do it again. I've done it before. Yes, I would take the L on taking the L. Absolutely. I have to. Chief fan, please let Neil Brown be next. Woo! I mean, West Virginia has a mathematical chance of going to the Big 12 championship game. Do you fire a head coach who had a mathematical chance of getting to the Big 12 championship game, one going into the last week of the regular season? I don't know. We're going to find out together, Chief, and I have not heard any smoke on Neil Brown. We heard it on North Carolina, nothing on Neil Brown. So, I don't know. Mick Stevens is in the house. Richard Jones is here. Skaven, yes, Mr. Morgantown, Jeff Morgan. Brad Williams, ECU Pirates. The Pirates have got their head coach, interim head coach. Now he's their permanent head coach. Congratulations to the Pirates. Stephen Vitt is in the house. Jan Hulk is here. Daniel Gorby is in the house. Nick Flynn, Mr. Buckeye, Gerald Jones. The Big Lubbock. Vox Quindaro, good morning, and the Rock Chalk Flugarians. Did Vox listen to my rendition of the fight song, Kansas fight song? I did it a couple live shows ago. Go check it out, Vox. I butchered that about as bad as I butchered Dancing in the Dark yesterday. Who else is here? Rock and Rant. Besides Tulane Summerall, football scoop has Iowa State's Matt Campbell, Minnesota PJ Fleck, and Army's Jeff Munkin linked. I cannot speak on Matt Campbell. I can speak on PJ Fleck. I would not cross the name off. I would not do that. Now, how do I say this? I get in so much trouble when I do this. Yeah, well, you know, you guys in the chat room, you probably think when I say I'm universally hated, when everybody gets mad at me, I mean it. Everybody gets mad at this YouTube channel, including Minnesota Golden Gopher fans. Because, you know, we talked about the UCLA thing before it happened. PJ Fleck We had great information that he was going to be the number one target. There was mutual interest. There was. We know that story even before Chip Kelly even left. Then Brett McMurphy reported it. Everybody had the information. Here at Peek Around the Corner, we could give you the peak. I mean, we have good standards here, but our standards are not of some national reporters out there. So, how do I go about this? It is very difficult to see a Power 2 head coach leave for a non-Power 2 head coaching position. Very difficult to see that happening. But if it is going to happen, this would be one of those situations. PJ Fleck could possibly leave Minnesota to become the head coach of North Carolina. And I'm going to get raked over the coals on this. I do not have him in the top 3. I have that third space open. And PJ Fleck is probably one of the reasons why I have it open. Because I need more information. We have talked about, I have talked about a Minnesota 247. PJ Fleck has been at Minnesota for 8 years. He has done a magnificent job. He's been the best head coach at Minnesota in my lifetime. In everybody's lifetime. Well, not everybody, but before the 1950s, early 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s. Minnesota is an incredibly difficult place to be a head coach of football. We are a hockey state. I keep saying this. Some of our NIL money is going to hockey. A lot of it is. We're going to spend more on hockey than anybody else. It's not even going to be close. And it's hard to recruit at Minnesota. And we have academic standards here. I'll give you one example. That defensive tackle, C.J. West, he would have been a Gopher, probably. He was going to be a Gopher. I don't want, you know what, I shouldn't even be bringing up that example. There is a lot of disadvantages here. It's a great it's a small fan base, but a great one, passionate one, beautiful stadium, blah, 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 Big Ten. And PJ Fleck, this is the important part of it. PJ Fleck was attracted to Minnesota because of the same reasons he was attracted to UCLA and the same reasons he would be attracted to the North Carolina, the UNC Chapel Hill job. Those are the type of living locations that him and his family want to be in. I don't want to go into family stuff too much, but it is what there are jobs out there that are great football jobs, fantastic football jobs that PJ Fleck would probably not be attracted to. Him and his wife. Fantastic football jobs. But PJ Fleck is he's not a rural guy. Nothing against rural, nothing against PJ Fleck. He's a city guy. He's a metropolitan guy. Nothing wrong against that. Nothing wrong being a. I'm just telling you guys. And then I don't know if this has been reported out there. There it is. Bubba loves PJ Fleck. Okay. That is true. Bubba Cunningham loves PJ Fleck. That is a situation. That is absolutely true. That has been known. That must be I don't know, Healing, Florida. Did somebody write that just today? That is true. PJ Fleck, if you love him, not love him, whatever, he's authentic as can be. He is exactly what he is, and he runs an extremely tight ship. Extremely tight ship. He doesn't let anything get by. Bubba Cunningham is the same way. Bubba Cunningham. Now, here's the situation. And again, the reason why PJ Fleck is not the head coach of UCLA is because they're broke. They might not be broke 6-7 years from now, but they could not give PJ Fleck what he needed to compete. UNC is not flowing in cash right now, right? But again, we've been talking about how aggressive Bubba Cunningham's going to be, a couple different avenues. What can they tell PJ Fleck's agent about the North Carolina position in the future? Private equity, whatever. PJ Fleck has never coached at a place that has a decent and good natural recruiting ground. If PJ Fleck had the Jimmies and the Joes, and if he had the money, which North Carolina really doesn't have, but they might have it, they might get it, what we've been hearing. Anyways, I've taken a long time on this. Do not rule out PJ Fleck. We do not have him number 3 on the board yet. I need more information. But yeah, this is the year of Bubba Cunningham. This is the year of Bubba Cunningham. Oh, we got so much to get to today. Ryan Willie, with the commitment from Carter Smith, congratulations to the Wisconsin Badgers. The commitment, the former Carter Smith was committed to Michigan, but then again, they got Underwood. Carter Smith is going to Wisconsin. I expect both Braden Locke to head out of Cheeseland. If the Gophers lose, you have to show us the cheese on your burger. I know. If the Gophers lose, I will eat a cheeseburger live, and I'm going to have to show you the cheese. I'm also going to have a couple of cans of Diet Cherry Coke next to me so I can wash that crap down. How dare you guys expect me to eat a cheeseburger? But I did agree with it because of the generous donations of the evil Badger, Ryan Willie. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it once again. Gophers are going to win. Hopefully. Okay. Yeah, that has been known. That is known. That is known. Everyone's going PJ Fleck, if he had a recruiting ground, what would happen, I think he would be. I think he would do an awesome job. But that is my. Yeah, and PJ Fleck's agent has been very aggressive. There is one story out there I wish I could tell you. I'll just say this. PJ Fleck's agent has been very aggressive over the last few years. I'll just leave it at that. Okay, so let's get to the Brett Yormark story. Anthony Carlson, off topic. We're number 1 in hockey. Go green. The Michigan State Spartans, number 1 in men's hockey. Holy smokes. Michigan State was great last year. You won the Big Ten championship. The Gophers are number 3 in hockey. The Gold, well, yeah, we are. We're number 3, I believe. Number 3 in the nation. Michigan State, holy smokes. Mr. Spartans, Anthony Carlson, thank you so much for all your generosity, for all your gift memberships. Member for 8 months. Holy smokes. You are hereby officially knighted, cloak, and dagger. Thank you, Mr. Spartans. I appreciate you coming on in. All your contributions to the show. We thank you so very much. So very much. Michigan State, number 1 in hockey, but not at the end of the season. Not at the end of the season. Not at the end of the season, Mr. Spartans. Preston from Greensboro, appreciate your information always, Greg. Best college football channel. UFO channel, bar none. Well, we're going to... Now that I just got a bunch of Gopher fans mad at me, we are going to get everybody else mad at us because at some point we're going to have to talk. We're going to have to take 2 minutes. We're going to have to talk about this situation over the UK. The British have just announced that they are using 60 troops. It's 60. I think it's 60. I think they're going to be on the ground around those installations. They want to catch who is controlling those drones over the installation. Now, UFO doesn't mean alien. It could, but it doesn't. It could, but it doesn't. It could. It means unidentified. We don't know who's controlling these drones, and we got to figure it out. Some people say it's ours. It's not ours. We don't run a black project against ourselves. We don't want to risk the lives, the safety of our airmen, of the people on the base, the people around the community. We don't do that. Everybody, when we are running an exercise against each other to test each other's technology, we give everybody in the installation a heads up. That's not what's going on here. The same thing that happened over Langley in Virginia is happening in the UK over our Air Force. That is our land in UK's country. Somebody is flying these drones and they are coordinated. They're coming from the north and the south at the same time. We are expending hundreds of thousands of dollars having our fighter jets chase after these drones. And we are flying these tankers up in the air. They're circling around as they refuel our jet fighters. It's the same exact thing that happened over at Langley. This is not being done by a lot of hobbyists. Hobbyists are not flying these drones over these installations. We don't know who it is. If it's the Chinese, if it's the Russians, if it's a terror group, or if it's some rich guy. These are not being caught on radar. Something is going on. Thank you, Preston from Greensboro. I appreciate your super chat. Thank you so much again for your incredible generosity, helping us keep the lights on here. Thank you, Preston from Greensboro. It probably is. It probably is PJ Fleck's agent. It's the Leprechauns. It's not the British. It's not the British. The Russians. Now, if it's the Russians, wouldn't they be using... It could be the Russians. It could be. It could be a Russian. Now, but it's got to be inland. They're not coming from Russia. Right? We have the capabilities of seeing things coming. We have these sensors. We saw the Chinese balloon. We knew it was coming here. And we inspected the we figured out that there wasn't a payload on the bottom of that Chinese spy balloon that could cause harm. We probably should have shot it down before it hit the mainland, but whatever. But if it is Russian, if it is Chinese, it's coming with inside the country. Or they're coming off a submarine that is up close to shore around the island, the British island. I don't know. I do not have the answers. I've only got the questions, but we're going to keep 5 consecutive days. This is 5 consecutive nights. 5! This is not a one-off. This is not they keep flying. They're not even scared. Who's ever controlling these drones, they don't seem to have any fear. Can't let this happen. But anyways, same thing happened over Langley in Virginia, December of 2023. Mr. Hoosier, happy Turkey Day for all PATC members. Go Indiana. Thank you, Mr. Hoosier, for your incredible generosity. Wow. Mr. Tungate, tonight we're going to be doing another live show on the next college football playoff rankings being released. So I hope you join us. Where is Indiana going to be on the list? 8, 9, 10? We're going to find out. But they're going to be okay once they hammer the spoiler makers this Saturday. Thank you, Mr. Tungate. Appreciate the super chat. Appreciate it so very much. Wow. Okay. That's enough of those unidentified objects. Who is controlling them? It's the evil badgers. It could be. It's the American guys. It's not the Americans. It's not us. We do not fly black objects. We do not fly exercise against each other. These are our installations. We don't fly against each other. We do not do exercises without everybody knowing, because it runs against safety for our airmen, for the people on the base, and for the community outside of the air. It's definitely not us. Definitely not us. Okay. Let's get to it. Brett Yormark bites back from The Athletic. Is there already a college football playoff controversy? Potential bye, racking nerves with 2 weeks left? The data doesn't lie. The College Football Playoff Selection Committee enters its final 2 weeks of deliberation. Again, we're going to be doing a live show tonight. Come join us. Real-time reaction. Who are the final at-large selections? Which teams receive a first-round bye? Which 4 conference champions receive a first-round bye? The first 2 are causing plenty of angst, but it is the third stress point that perhaps offers the most intriguing debate. The 5 highest-ranked conference champions earn a bid into the 12-team field, and the top 4 champions are seeded 1 through 4 and receive a bye into the quarterfinals. Many presume the champions of the 4 power leagues would annually get those first round byes, but maybe not. Boise State is ahead of all the Big 12 teams, paving the way for the Broncos to receive the number 4 seed in the first round bye, the group of 5 over the Power 4 leap. Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark bites back. Said such a decision would be the wrong one to put Boise State ahead of the Big 12 champion. Based on where we sit today, I see no rationale. None for the Big 12 champion not getting a first round bye. Yormark told Yahoo Sports the winner of our championship should receive a bye. I have a lot of trust in the selection committee. Brett Yormark is doing a Greg Sankey right now. Brett Yormark is biting back like a Greg Sankey. I have a lot of trust in the selection committee. I'm sure they'll see it that way. Just look at the data. The data doesn't lie. From a strength to schedule standpoint, all 4 of our schools at the top of the standings are ranked ahead of Boise State. At the center of the debate is a comparison not only of the individual teams, but of the 2 leagues. The argument is fascinating in an era of college football where the power leagues continue to separate themselves from the 5 others, the Mountain West, Sun Belt, Conference USA, American, and Mid-American. Yormark is loaded with Big 12 data points. His league has 42 wins over teams with a winning record. The Mountain West only has 11. 5 from those from Boise and UNLV. 9 Big 12 teams are bowl eligible. The Mountain West only has 5. Boise State strength of schedule is ranked 81st. 12 spots below the worst of the Big 12's top 4 teams. Iowa State's at 69. The 2 leagues have actually met on the field 8 times this season. The Big 12 is 6-2, with an average margin of victory of more than 3 touchdowns. UNLV holds both of the Mountain West wins at Houston and Kansas, but Boise State does have a win against UNLV. Arizona State defeated Wyoming by 41 points. BYU defeated Wyoming by 20. Boise struggled against Wyoming and a 4-point win. Yormark bites back. There is no rationale for us not getting the bye. In an interview Monday with Yahoo Sports, Boise State coach Spencer Danielson, he's not getting in the fray. He is staying above the fray for right now. For right now he is. He isn't looking that far ahead. A message he hammers home to his team. We still have 2 more games to even continue this conversation, he said. That's where I'm with it. We've been playing playoff football since the Oregon game. I believe in our schedule. We've played well. We played well against Oregon. Are we suited for a bye? That's up to the committee. 7 of the Boise State 10 wins have come by at least 2 scores, including a 21-point victory over a Washington State team that beat Texas Tech by 3 touchdowns in week 2 of the season. But Boise State's strongest arguments are perhaps its 1 loss and its best player. The Broncos led number 1 Oregon for much of their game on September 7th, eventually losing on a last-second field goal. Boise State has the nation's leading rusher, the Heisman Trophy candidate Ashton Jeanty, the Heisman Trophy candidate, and I think he's number 1 or number 2, who has run for nearly 600 yards, more than the next best rusher. There have been multiple teams on the rankings that are no longer in the rankings because they got caught up in this stuff, Danielson said, the head coach of Boise State. It's hard for me to lobby on things with 2 games left. You control what you can control. Mountain West Commissioner kind of saying the same thing. Lori Navarez declined comment aside from gesturing to similar data points for the Broncos, most notably that 3-point loss to Eugene. The College Football Playoff Selection Committee meets again early this week before its rankings are revealed Tuesday. Now, this is This is the PATC money shot, in my opinion. Because you can have all these data points. You can put them all in the tumbler, right? And everybody can, kind of disagree here, kind of disagree there, blah, blah, all this stuff, right? But it all comes out to this. For right now, November 26th, the Big 12's two highest ranked teams, number 14 BYU, number 16 Colorado, they both lost. Boise State, ranked number 12 last week, survived that scare from Wyoming. In the updated AP poll, Arizona State was highest ranked Big 12 team of number 14. Boise was 11. So tonight, live, we're going to be doing a live show, real-time reactions to the next college football playoff rankings released. Where Arizona State is, where Boise State is ranked, is going to tell us what all these data points are telling the committee at this point. Is Arizona State going to be 14? Is Boise going to be 11 tonight? Will it match the AP poll? We're going to find out together tonight. But that will get us a base point going into the last regular season game, Arizona State versus Arizona, going into the championship games. What's going on right now isn't fair to the Big 12. Kansas State head coach Chris Kleiman told reporters on Monday, other teams can lose in other leagues, and that league is really good. We lose in this league, and this league stinks. I don't understand that. As a conference, we need to get together and figure some things out. For a bunch of teams to be 9-2 and we can't get any benefits in the college football playoff, then we need to cancel one of those conference games and then go to 8 games. I don't think the Big 12 can go to 8 games. I don't know. I have my serious doubts that the Big 12 has any ability to go to 8 conference games. The decision from the selection committee related to the first round bye is not insignificant. The 4th highest ranked conference champion, the number 4 seed in the bracket, gets an additional week to rest. The team would play one of the winners of the number 5, 12 seed matchups in a bowl quarterfinal matchup. Okay. So there it is. Brett Yormark bites back. Brett Yormark bites back. Black Rain, I think G5 schools going forward may be left out altogether. I don't think so. At least, not during this contract. Not during this playoff contract. Not for the next 5 years after this. G5 is going to be in this for at least the next 5 years. Nobody wants to get sued on this. Everyone is getting sued and everything else. They're not going to get sued by these universities, by these attorney generals, I think the G5 are going to keep their playoff access for at least the next 5 years. I have said this. We did a live show on Sunday. I did my playoff projections on what I think it's going to look like when the final format rankings are released. I have Boise State at number 4. I've got Arizona State at number 12. It is close. It is incredibly close. The reason why, if Boise State runs the table, wins the Mountain West Conference Championship over UNLV once again, the reason I believe Boise State doesn't have it quite locked up is because they have not been playing. They are not passing the eye test. They are not passing the eye test over the last few weeks. But their loss against Oregon is going to shine to the committee. And it has been shining. That is why Boise State is not getting dislodged out of that 11th spot. Not quite yet. Boise State defeating UNLV. UNLV defeating 2 Big 12 teams. One of them being Kansas. Kansas just beat BYU. Kansas just beat Colorado. Arizona State's 2 losses. Those 2 losses don't quite measure up. But I do think Arizona State, I think Boise State has left the door open for Arizona State. Because Boise State is not past the eye test the last couple of weeks. And Arizona State has. So this is a race to the finish. It's going to be razor close. If Arizona State runs the table, if Boise State runs the table, it is real close. Real close. But right now, I'm going to give it to Boise State. But it's close. We're going to see. Now, Boise State's going to have to, they're going to have to pass the eye test in that Mountain West Conference Championship game. If they can lay a beat down to UNLV, and I don't know if they can. I don't know. I don't even know if they can win that game, to be honest. In fact, Boise State has to look over their shoulders to Tulane to try to seal up that G5 rankings. UNLV and Tulane are sitting there. They have incentive to close out strong. Those 2 teams Tulane could pass Boise State. And then, Boise State slips. Arizona State's going to get that 4th seed, and Tulane could get that 12th seed. So we got a lot to play for, a lot of things going on, but right now I have the slight edge to Boise State. But the truth of the matter is they have not been passing the eye test over the last month. No, we are definitely not sure that they can run the table. Definitely not. They've been bumbling, stumbling, rumbling. JIT wants a computer. I don't want a computer, but I know a lot of people do in the PATC community. I want it to remain like it is. With a little bit of drama, a little bit of controversy. I don't want the automatic qualifiers. I think they're going to come on in. I think the Big Ten and the SEC are going to scoop a lot up. I think the ACC, I think the automatic qualifiers is coming in. And the selection committee is going to be dealing with seedings mostly. Mostly. Not everything. There's going to be at-large bids. But I want to keep the things, though. I finally got the playoff the way I wanted it. I want to keep it this way, but I know it's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen. Boise State's ranking is a participation prize for having a Heisman candidate and for no other reason. Wow. G5 schools don't play a tough schedule beating UNLV. That's not good enough. UNLV did beat 2 Big 12 teams. And one of those Big 12 teams, Kansas, just beat 3 ranked Big 12 team opponents 3 weeks in a row. So that is all going to help UNLV and Boise State. Devil Frog, it's insane that voters are ranking Boise higher than the eventual Power 4 conference champion when they haven't beaten a Power 4 school all season. Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. Okay, we are going to go to your phone calls. Again, we have a live show coming up later this evening, live reaction to the new college football rankings. Come join us. I think it's going to be something like 7 o'clock Eastern. Come join us. We're going to have lots of fun. I got to check my... hold on one second here. Hold on one second. Hold on. We also have a report. It looks like Mr. Walters, the head coach of Purdue, it looks like he might be returning for the 2025 season. Possibly. It looks like it. On3 is reporting. Speaking with multiple sources on Sundays, Walters is trending to return to Purdue for the 2025 season. Very interesting. And going back, nope, I guess I did not flag that down. Oh, here we go, right here. Defense editor, 21,000 followers. Larissa Brown, who's been on the ground covering international military events going on. Let me show you what she reported here. This morning, 60 British troops have been deployed to help the U.S. find who is responsible for flying drones over the air bases in the U.K. amid concerns it could be part of something sinister. I have my doubts. Personally, I have my doubts that this is people flying these drones as a hobby for 5 consecutive days with jet fighters chasing these drones. They're not being picked up on radar. Something is going on. It could be sinister. I just wanted to show you that as well. That was reported. This is not being done by the Americans. It could be the Russians, could be the Chinese, it could be Illini Ted and his people out there in the UK. Okay, phone lines are open. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. Give me a call. Talk about anything in college football. The College Football Award finalists have been announced. We can go through that real quick as we wait for any phone calls. Defensive Player of the Year: Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Caleb Downs. The Blitnikoff Award, the Outstanding Receiver: Travis Hunter, McMillan, Nick Nash of San Jose State. The Lou Groza, the Outstanding Place Kicker. Almendaris, Fitzgerald, Florida State, and Alex Rayner of Kentucky. The Ray Guy Award. Mastromano, Florida State, Brett Thorson, Georgia, and I don't know how to say that name, Sapliki, USC. He's been a great punter. I just don't know how to pronounce that name. But I've seen it firsthand what a great punter the Trojans have. The Maxwell Award, the Player of the Year. Ashton Genty, Boise State. Travis Hunter, Colorado. Dylan Gabriel, Oregon. the Davey O'Brien National Quarterback Award, the best quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, Oregon, Shedeur Sanders, Colorado, Cam Ward, Miami. The Outland Trophy, the most outstanding interior lineman, Calvin Banks Jr., Texas, Mason Graham, Michigan, Walter Nolan, Ole Miss.
Call from
Chris Kenny.
Chris Kenny, can you just hold on for one moment? I just want to finish
Sure.
this list that I'm on here real quick.
Sure.
The most outstanding interior lineman, Calvin Banks Jr., Texas, Mason Graham, Michigan, Walter Nolan, Ole Miss. The Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, the best defensive back, Barron, Jedi Barron, Texas, Caleb Downs, Ohio State, Malachi Starks, Georgia. The Doak Walker Award, Marion Hampton, North Carolina, Ashton Genty, Boise State, and Caleb Johnson of Iowa. Boy, it's hard to replace any of those three, but you leave out Cam Scadaboo, you leave out Devin Neal, you leave out Taj Brooks. Woo! Anyways, Chris Kenny, the floor is yours. Thanks for your call, sir.
Sure. I guess I would say, for starters, I'm very surprised by the Mac Brown news. I thought maybe this would be his last year, but that they would kind of give him sort of a graceful exit and allow him to retire if it's true that he's actually being fired, and they just let him coach through a potential bowl game. I think that's kind of a disingenuous way to send out your all-time leading wins leader, who came out of retirement to help try to bring the program back, and I find that a little distasteful, just based on what these reports say. The second point I'd make is just to echo what you said about the structure and the intrigue that the playoff has generated. I think this has been a great college football season, and I don't understand why everybody is so unhappy, and it kind of makes me wonder if people are just programmed in college football to be unhappy, that there's nothing anybody could ever do to satisfy people who like to gripe. But I think this has been a great year. You've got every conference race has, number one, intrigue and uncertainty. There's nobody who's running away with any of those leagues. Even the G5 ones that are in contention, Boise still has a really important game. The AAC, in any other system, would be playing for what, like the Military Bowl or something like that? Like Tulane and Army still have a lot to play for. The ACC, I think, has had a great year. SMU and Miami, everyone says, what has Miami done? I'm sorry. Like, Miami went to Gainesville and ran Florida off the field. The same Florida team that just beat Ole Miss, and that Georgia, on a neutral field, not at home, couldn't put away until late in the fourth quarter. So I think Miami, they've struggled a little bit. They lost to Georgia Tech. That wasn't a good look. They've had some ups and downs and inconsistency. Their defense is a weakness, particularly the secondary. But okay, fine. Every team in this field has a weakness. SMU's lost one game. They lost by a whisker to BYU. And otherwise, they're arguably the fastest team in college football. I mean, they run the way Washington last year did, I think. So I don't know. I mean, Clemson maybe is a puncher, kind of a paper tiger, but they've still won, they're on pace to win. They won 9. They could win 10 if they beat Carolina. So I don't think the ACC is bad. I think all these people are saying that they're overrated and, 3 and 4 loss SEC teams should be ahead of them. I think are just trying to come up with something to complain about. I know the Big 12 fans don't like some of the telecast they've gotten, some of the broadcast windows. I think that's kind of overstated. I mean, you have a Big 12 game on Fox at 3:30 or 4 o'clock virtually every afternoon. What is to complain about? You had Utah BYU at night. Okay, that was the deal. That's why ESPN paid them the money that they paid them. That's why they expanded with more Western schools, was to fill those windows. And you can't like bite the hand that feeds you. You could have just as easily ended up in the ash heap like the Pac-12 did when USC and UCLA, when Texas and Oklahoma left the league. So I don't really understand what there is to complain about there. You've got like a linear broadcast partner, and most of your games are on Fox or ESPN, and the ESPN Plus games, are going to TNT next year. So I think this has been a great year. It's been a terrible year for my Northwestern Wildcats. I think they're probably going to get boat raced on Saturday against Illinois. But that's my one gripe. But I think the season as a whole has been really fun, and everyone should just chill and enjoy it a little bit. We've got like a whole nother month and a half of meaningful football.
Yeah.
When you look at the playoff games. What's the complaint about, Greg? Why is everyone so unhappy?
I think most people are happy, but I think people sense that the cards have not been completely turned over. Like, this is not what I think people are concerned about not the distant future, but the near future of what the playoffs are going to look like, because I think people are kind of bracing themselves for what the SEC and the Big Ten are going to decide here. I think that's part of it, but I think most people are happy with this season. I do.
Oh yeah, I mean, if that's the case, like number one, all the more reason to enjoy the season that we've had. Like the ratings across the board are up, and they've been up for like several years in a row now. So I think college football is still healthy despite all of the cries and wailing and gnashing of teeth. I think the sport is still healthy. And, look, like the past cannot be changed and the future does not exist. So there's nothing to fear about the changes that may or may not come. They're not here yet. There's nothing to be afraid because those changes are hypothetical. They're figments of our imagination until they become a reality. So just enjoy the present. I don't mean to be like a little armchair Buddha here, but just enjoy the season and have a good Thanksgiving.
Beautiful.
All right.
I agree, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks. See ya.
Great call, Kenny. Thank you. Excellent. Before we take another phone call, we do have an update from last week. Oh yeah, baby. Week 13. The unlucky number, not for the fat guy of Minnesota. Number 13 is a very good number. Week 13, the best week of the season. Greg the Gold, or it was really Greg the Believer. Let's go down. Let's see what happened here. I've had a lot of bad moments this year, guys. A lot of bad moments. But this week wasn't one of them. Indiana and Ohio State. The fat guy from Minnesota took Indiana. So did the PATC community. We both got it wrong. Ole Miss at Florida. The fat guy from Minnesota took Florida. The PATC community took Ole Miss. Florida covered. SMU at Virginia. Greg the Believer took SMU. So did the PATC family. Penn State at Minnesota. The Gophers lose by 1. Greg the Believer took the Gophers. The PATC family took Penn State. Boo! Colorado at Kansas. Greg the Believer took Kansas. The PATC family took Kentucky. Took Colorado. Kentucky at Texas. Greg the Believer took Texas. I did not get that game. You guys took Kentucky. You won that one. BYU at Arizona State. We both took Arizona State. And Wisconsin at Nebraska. I took Nebraska. They won big. You guys took Wisconsin. I took Army. You took Notre Dame. But I had a 6-3 record. Greg the Believer, 6-3 record against the spread. The PATC family went 4-5. So my current record is 59-76. The PATC family is 56-79. I've got a 3-game lead. A 3-game lead over the PATC geniuses. I do see there is some elbows being thrown here. Let me just put it this way. I think Notre Dame is one hell of a football team this year. One hell of a football team. They got to close it out against the Trojans, but there's too many good things going on at Notre Dame. They not missing Benjamin Morrison all that much. That defense is flying. You got Riley Leonard, who's playing the best football of his career. He is at his most comfortable. You got Mike Denbrock, an incredible offensive coordinator. He is wheeling and dealing for the Irish. Jeremiah Love is on a whole different level than what they've had in the backfield over the last 3, 4, 5 years. The Irish is for real. I did open up the phone lines once again. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. Give us a call here at Peek Around the Corner. College football's Peek Around the Corner.
Call from
Steve. Bearcat Steve is on the line. The floor is yours, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I got to go golfing here in a little bit, but I got time to call in.
Beautiful.
I'm going to clean everything up for everybody, and there's going to be people call me crazy, and I know that's a short drive for me to be crazy, so, I'll take it as it is.
Yeah.
You want to fix the playoffs? I'll give everybody everything that they think they deserve. Go to 16 teams. I know that doesn't bring revenue up much, adding 4 more. I get that part. 16 teams. You got a left side bracket of 8. You got a right side bracket of 8. SEC, Big Ten, think they deserve 4 teams. Give them each 4. Big 12, ACC, think they deserve 2 or 3. Give them each 3. That leaves 2. Should it be Notre Dame if they're not in a conference plus a Power 5, plus a group of 5 or a group of 5? 2 teams. So now we're at 16. Okay? You got a right side bracket, you got a left side bracket. On the right side bracket, since the Big Ten thinks, and the SEC have brought up that they should have a number 1 seed. All right. We'll give you that number 1 seed on both sides of the bracket. SEC, you get it on the left side. Big Ten, you get it on the right. Okay? Number 1 seeds. Now, the first and second teams in the ACC of the Big 12, we'll put the Big 12 over there with the SEC. Well, you get the 2 and 3 Big 12 on that bracket. Over on the other side with the Big 10, the ACC gets 2 and 3. Then you can go, with your 2, 3, 4, and then your 3s, and match them up on both brackets, okay? So now, so far, everybody's got what they've asked for. Am I correct? They get top seeds in the SEC and Big 10. They get 4 teams. And who really makes out on this deal if Notre Dame has a down year is the group of 5. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, you with me on this? You picturing this in your mind's eye?
You are the Henry Clay, the great compromiser. Go ahead. Keep going, sir.
Okay. So, now, you're at 16. I know that first weekend's a little bit goofy because you got to play 8 games somehow. Okay? Nobody gets a bye.
Nope.
All right? Don't have to worry about that. Nobody's getting a bye. Okay? So, let's just slot those teams in, and let's do this for a couple years. Now, next year, we'll take the ACC and put them over in the SEC bracket, and we'll take the Big 12 and put them over in the Big 10 bracket. Okay? And then we'll take a long, hard look at this to see how the prospective teams did over 2 years of this. Okay?
Yeah.
It's here, and everybody's saying, well, how do teams qualify? We don't need no damn committee. You know how the teams qualify? Each conference makes their own rules about how they're going to select their top 4 or their top 3. Now, with the G5, they're going to have to get together and come up with whatever they want to come up with to send 2 teams to the playoffs should that happen to happen. Okay? That's just so then there's not, well, this SEC team got one more loss than the Big 12 team, so no. SEC, you pick your 4 teams. Big 10, you pick your 4. Big 12, you pick your 3. ACC, you pick your 3. Get all your tiebreakers. Do whatever you want, but pick your 3. Okay?
Yeah.
Easy enough. It's just easy. It's just too easy. You know what? And you'll and don't take this personally, Greg. If I hear the freaking phrase eye test one more time, I'm going to be terminally ill. Eye test my butt.
Okay.
Okay?
Got it.
No, there ain't no eye test. It's done between wins and losses within your own conference, at your own conference. Now, here's the other caveat I'm going to bring in.
That's good. Go ahead.
Here's the other caveat I'm going to bring in. I don't care if you're the SEC and your 9th, 10th, 11th game you want to play a FCS school. Have at it. Those FCS schools can use that money. But what it comes down to is you're only playing one FCS team. You're only playing one. When you're a Power 4, you're only playing one group of 5 a year. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So there ain't no beating up on somebody, to, get to the playoffs because you played a really, really soft schedule. Okay? So this alleviates everybody from ESPN. We just took a lot of control away from them, giving it to the conferences. Okay? And my God, that committee, I mean, I just don't get it. Mm-hmm. You telling me they can sit there every weekend? I can, because I do it. But you can sit there and watch 16 teams in a week and use the eye test. Please don't come to me with that. I mean, Boise State's got one loss. They lost to number 1 Oregon at Oregon. So You going to tell me that they get rewarded for losing?
Well,
no.
You do have to look at your best wins and your best losses. And Boise
Nope.
State doesn't have best wins.
Respectively disagree.
Okay.
Because once the conferences sit around and go, we got to pick 3, you guys, then it doesn't matter.
Well, okay, in that world, it doesn't matter. Yes, I do understand that. But in this world, in this world that we have now, you have to, if you're going to look at best wins, you have to look at losses, right? You have to do both. If you're going to look at one, you got to look at both. Boise State doesn't have the great wins, right? They don't have the great wins.
Nope.
But Arizona State has 2 losses that won't stack up to most teams in the playoffs. So it's, I think it's going to be
tight. They lost to Cincinnati when Cincinnati was playing well, and Arizona State was still trying to find themselves. Yeah. And it was at Cincinnati, and it was a noon game, Eastern time. I'm not making excuses for Arizona State, so let's all look at that. All look at that. Yeah. Let's don't say that was a terrible loss. Yeah. If you want to put everything in the formula, let's put everything in the formula. Let's just don't say, well, geez, they went out to Cincinnati and lost, and Oregon or Boise State went to Oregon and barely lost. Don't know. Yeah. Okay. No. Well, that's my boomer rant for the day, and that's
you did a great job. You did a great job.
That's my way to solve everybody saying we should be in or we should be in or they shouldn't be in. Yeah. Pretty simple, Greg. It's really pretty simple. Yeah. So, all right, my man.
All right.
Have a great day.
Appreciate it. Great call.
See ya.
Bearcat Steve, laying it down. I just want to back to those. I just want to hear this. The Pentagon Press Secretary, Air Force Major General Pat Ryder, on the latest drone threats over the U.S. air bases in the U.K. I have no idea what he said. He probably did not say anything of importance. They never say anything of importance. But I just want to hear this, guys, since we've been talking about it a little bit. Let's just listen to this.
Bases, a kind of swarming U.S. bases, challenging security. Do you believe they have hostile intent? Do you believe they were sent by a foreign adversary? What is happening what can you tell us about these drones?
What I would tell you, Jennifer, is that they are being actively monitored. Installation leaders have determined so far that none of these incursions impact the base residents, the facilities, or the assets that we have on those bases. We're, of course, continuing to work with host nation authorities and our mission partners to ensure the safety of our personnel, our facilities, and the equipment. The bottom line is it's something that we're going to take seriously. We're continuing to look into it, but as of right now has not had any significant mission impact.
Why not shoot them down?
Well, I won't get into force protection measures. We, of course, always maintain the right to defend ourselves if we deem something to be a threat. But again, we'll continue to work with the local host nation authorities there.
Do you think it's linked to the drones that were cited at 3 or 4 different locations back in December of last year that we reported on recently on the state side?
Yeah, I don't want to speculate and draw unnecessary connections. Again, this is something that we'll look into. As you know, small UASs, drones, have become something that's, relatively common now across the landscape. It's something that the department has been looking closely at in terms of how it applies to our facilities, our personnel, whether it's in combat zones or outside of combat zones. But in terms of these particular incidents in the UK versus the ones in the States, again, I don't want to speculate that there's any
Don't
connection.
appear to be those of hobbyists. Is that correct?
Again, it would be, premature to draw any conclusions. We've got to see what these are. I mean, it's entirely possible that it could be hobbyists or something else. We just got to look into it. So come over here. Yes, sir.
Thank you, General.
Okay. Number one. If they have ways to jam your communication between you on the ground and your drone up in the air when you're a hobbyist, they can knock those down. It's the same thing with the drones flying over our naval ships off the port of off of San Diego back in 2019, I believe it was, where they were up in the air for hours and we couldn't get them down simply using our simple jamming techniques. These are not hobbyist drones. They're definitely not drones from hobbyists. I don't know where they're coming from. I don't know if they're if there's 10 guys in the UK that is having fun with the United States Air Force. But once they are, if they are captured, they're in a load of hurt. Who's ever doing this? Absolutely. Yes, but we. Thank you for the super chat, John Till. Appreciate it. Michigan flying overhead, spying on Ohio State signals. Could be. But in the UK, I don't know about that. Super chat. Thank you, John Till. Thank you for your continued generosity. Appreciate it so very much. Now, if it happens today in the UK, it's this would be the 6th night in a row. We'll see what happens. Again, we're also going to see what happens later tonight. We're going to shut this down. We've been on the air for an hour and 30 minutes, a little bit over, because we're going to come on the air back tonight. Please join us here at Peek Around the Corner. It's going to be about 7 o'clock Eastern time, a little bit earlier than that. We're going to get your real-time reactions. I'm going to give you my real-time reactions on the next installment of the college football playoff rankings by the committee. Join us tonight. I do appreciate you all coming on in. Thank you so much, Gorb, the Evil Badger, Ryan Willie, Anthony Carlson, Preston from Greensboro, Mr. Hoosier, Ricky Tungate, and John Till. Thank you guys so much for your donations to help us keep the lights on. Thank you for your phone calls, your tremendous comments in the chat room. Brett Yormark bites back, defending the Big 12. Defending the Big 12, believes there's no data out there that can supplant the Big 12 champion for that number 4th seed. And there's an opening in North Carolina. Number 1, John Summerall. Number 2, Glenn Schumann. Number 3, we're going to keep it open. But yes, the PJ Fleck talk has begun again. We were going to follow that story here at Peek Around the Corner and everything else in college football later tonight. Join us until then. From all of us at College Football's Peek Around the Corner, to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.